The galaxy was vast. Stars burned, planets moved, and great empires ruled the space between. For thousands of years, alien civilizations had written history in their great archives. They believed they knew every war, every ship, and every enemy that had ever existed. But sometimes, history hides things. Sometimes, records are not complete. On a quiet night in the Council Observatory, an alien technician named Varen stared at his console. He was young, inexperienced, and bored. The galaxy was at peace. Nothing new ever happened. But then, his console beeped. A signal. Varen frowned. Signals were common, but this one was strange. It was old. Very old. The frequency was not used anymore. He adjusted his scanner. The signal was faint, broken, like a ghost whispering through static. He recorded it and checked the origin point. It was coming from the edge of known space. A sector long abandoned. Varen opened the file and listened. A voice, distorted and weak, spoke in a language forgotten by most of the galaxy. He could not understand it. But the translation system worked slowly, and one word appeared on his screen. Human. Varen froze. Human. That word belonged to myths. Some said humans once existed, a primitive race from a small planet. Others said they were extinct, destroyed before they could join the stars. The archives showed nothing. No human ships, no records, no wars. Nothing at all. But here was a signal. And it was real. He rushed to his commander. The commander laughed when Varen explained. Impossible. Humans are not in the records. They never mattered. Still, protocol demanded investigation. A scout fleet was sent. Small, fast ships moved into the forgotten sector. They reported seeing nothing at first. Empty stars, dead systems, silence. And then, they found it. Floating in the dark, a massive vessel appeared. It was black and silent, without identification codes. No empire had built it. Its design was alien, yet strangely familiar. It had scars on its hull, like it had survived 1,000 battles. The scout leader tried to hail it. No answer. They circled the ship, scanning. The data shocked them. Its metal was centuries old, older than most empires. Yet its power core was still alive. Finally, the ship moved. Slowly. Like something waking from a long sleep. The scouts prepared weapons. They were nervous. One pilot whispered, "It looks human." And then, the ship attacked. Without warning, energy beams cut through the scouts. One by one, their ships exploded, powerless against the ancient vessel. The fleet tried to run, but their engines shut down as strange pulses disabled them. In minutes, an entire squadron was gone. The scout leader managed to send one final transmission before his ship was destroyed. His voice shook as he screamed into the comm. "It's human." The transmission ended with static. Back in the council chambers, silence filled the room as leaders watched the recording. The black ship's image glowed on the screen. Its weapons burned bright, tearing through fleets like paper. "Not possible," one elder whispered. "No records, no history, this cannot exist." But it did. The council tried to hide the news, but rumors spread fast. Traders whispered about a ghost ship. Soldiers told stories of an ancient war machine. Some called it the Forgotten Ship. Others said it was a demon from humanity's past. Varen sat in his observatory again, staring at the signal still playing on his console. He adjusted the recording and listened carefully. The human voice became clearer, broken but understandable. It said, "We are not gone. We are not forgotten." A chill ran down his spine. If one ship could destroy fleets, what else was hidden in the void? What else had the records forgotten? The galaxy was about to learn a truth it had ignored for centuries. Humanity was not gone. Humanity had returned. And the first sign was a single, deadly ship. The alien council ordered more fleets to be prepared. But deep inside, many leaders already knew the truth. This was not the beginning of a war. This was the return of something they could not control. The forgotten signal had been found. And with it, history itself had awakened. The galaxy tried to forget the first encounter. The council announced that the scout fleet had simply gone missing. Pirates, they said. Space storms, they claimed. But the soldiers who survived on nearby stations knew the truth. They had seen the recording. They had heard the last words of the scout leader. "It's human." Now, whispers spread across every trade hub, every military base, every starport. A single black ship, older than empires, was moving through the stars. It had no name, no code, and no flag. The archives had no record of it. But it was real, and it was killing fleets. The Council could not ignore it any longer. A grand fleet was assembled, 20 heavy cruisers, 40 escorts, and hundreds of fighters. It was more than enough to crush pirates, rebels, or even rival empires. The admirals were confident. "It is only one ship," they said. "One ship cannot fight a fleet." They did not know the truth. The black ship appeared near the Calros trade hub, a massive station where thousands of alien ships gathered. Merchants screamed as alarms sounded. Civilian transport scattered, running into hyperspace. The Grand Fleet formed a wall around the station, their weapons armed and ready. The admirals sent a warning. "Unknown vessel, you are surrounded. Power down and identify yourself." The black ship gave no answer. Minutes passed. Silence filled the void. The admirals grew restless. Fighters moved closer, scanning. They reported strange readings, power levels far above anything known. The hull metal was unbreakable to their sensors. And then, the ship moved. Its engines glowed a deep, unnatural blue. Slowly, it turned to face the Grand Fleet. The admirals shouted orders. Weapons locked on target. Thousands of cannons, missiles, and plasma beams aimed at one lonely ship. Fire! The void lit up with fire. Explosions covered the black ship as the fleet poured its full power into it. Smoke and energy waves spread across the sector. The admirals cheered. But when the light cleared, the black ship still stood. Not even a scratch. For a moment, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. Then the black ship attacked. Its weapons came alive, faster than sensors could track. Beams of white light cut through cruisers like knives through paper. Entire squadrons of fighters vanished in fire. The ship moved with impossible speed, slipping through their formation as if mocking them. In 5 minutes, half the Grand Fleet was gone. In 10 minutes, the rest were running for their lives. Admiral Vayak, the fleet commander, screamed into the comms. "What are you? Who commands you?" At that moment, the black ship broadcast a single image. Not words, not symbols, an image. A human face. Tired. Scarred. But unmistakably human. The aliens froze in horror. They had seen myths, read fragments, heard rumors. But none believed humans were real. Now, here was proof. The admirals begged for surrender, but the ship did not reply. Instead, it disabled their engines and left them adrift, humiliated but alive. The black ship turned away and jumped into hyperspace, leaving behind only wreckage and fear. News spread faster than light. On alien worlds, children asked their parents, "What are humans?" Scholars searched old texts for clues. Priests declared it a prophecy. Merchants raised prices, fearing war. Soldiers whispered in the dark, wondering how one ship could defeat thousands. The council met again. Leaders argued. "It is only one ship," one shouted. "But what if there are more?" another answered. Silence followed. No one wanted to imagine a fleet of such ships. Meanwhile, in the deep void, the black ship rested. Its lights dimmed. Inside its dark halls, old machines hummed. Cryopods stood empty. At the center, a lone human walked through the corridors. His steps echoed. His eyes were hard, his face worn. He was the last survivor of an old Earth experiment. He had slept for centuries. Now he was awake. The ship spoke to him, its AI voice calm and cold. "Targets neutralized. More fleets will come." The human placed a hand on the control panel. "Let them come," he whispered. "They need to remember us." Back in the council chambers, panic spread. Scouts had reported new sightings of the black ship. It was striking only military targets, stations, outposts, shipyards. But never civilians. Some leaders saw a pattern. "It is not random," they said. "It is a message." Others wanted war. "We must destroy it before it destroys us." But how could they? Every fleet sent against it was destroyed. Every trap failed. The ship was unstoppable. And always, the survivors said the same thing. They saw a human inside. On the edges of the galaxy, small colonies began to whisper with hope. They remembered old stories, forbidden tales about humans. About how they fought with fire, how they never surrendered, how they always came back stronger. Now, the stories were alive again. The black ship was no longer just a weapon. It was a symbol. A ghost from the past, reminding the galaxy of something it had tried to erase. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt fear. When the Council tried to open negotiations, they sent a message into the void. Unknown human ship, state your purpose. 4 hours, there was no answer. Then, at last, a voice echoed across the stars. A human voice, deep and unbroken. This is not war. This is warning. The Council sat in silence. The meaning was clear. One ship had defeated their greatest fleets, yet claimed this was not even war. The galaxy had seen many wars. Empires had risen and fallen. Species had fought for power, for territory, for survival. But never before had the galaxy been shaken by a single ship. One human ship. Every fleet sent against it had been destroyed. Every admiral who faced it had failed. And now, the Council, the great ruling body of the galaxy, sat in silence. The chamber was massive, filled with leaders of 100 species. Their voices were usually loud, proud, and arrogant. But now, fear weighed heavy in the air. At last, the Speaker of the Council, a tall alien with silver skin, broke the silence. We are facing a danger without record. This ship, it is human. But humans do not exist in our archives. They are not part of history. An old reptilian general hissed. Then history is wrong. We have seen the recordings. We have lost fleets. We cannot deny it any longer. A human commands that ship. The chamber erupted in arguments. Some demanded war. Some demanded surrender. Some wanted to erase all evidence to stop panic among the citizens. One nervous ambassador spoke, his voice trembling. If one ship can do this, what if there are more? What if Earth is still alive? What if a fleet is waiting? The room went quiet again. No one wanted to imagine that. While the Council argued, reports kept arriving. Outposts destroyed. Military convoys wiped out. But civilians left untouched. The black ship was not spreading chaos. It was choosing its targets carefully. It is not war, one leader muttered. It is something else. The Council ordered all scientists to study the old archives. They searched for any fragment about humans. What they found was frightening. Long ago, when most empires were still young, there had been rumors of a species from a small blue planet. They were said to be dangerous, unpredictable, and stubborn. Some records even described wars where small human fleets had fought enemies far stronger than them, and won. But then, nothing. No records of destruction, no records of survival. Humans had simply disappeared. Until now. In secret chambers, the military leaders met without the Council. They could not show weakness to the public. General Kor, who had lost his fleet at Calros, slammed his claws on the table. That thing is not a myth. I saw it destroy my ships. I saw a human face. It was real. Do not call me a fool. Another admiral leaned forward. If a human survived, how? Their species should be extinct. A younger officer whispered, what if they were never extinct? What if they hid, waiting for this moment? No one answered. Meanwhile, rumors spread across the galaxy. In the marketplaces, traders told tales of the ghost ship. In the outer colonies, children played games where they pretended to be humans fighting entire armies. Some began to admire the unknown ship. Some began to fear it. On one border world, an alien priest declared, the humans are the chosen warriors. They return to punish the arrogant. Thousands believed him. The Council tried to control the fear, but fear was stronger than law. Then, something even stranger happened. A patrol fleet captured fragments of a transmission. It was not in their language. It was human speech. Experts worked day and night to decode it. Finally, the message was clear. A single sentence repeated across the stars. We remember. Do you? The Council members stared at the words. The meaning was obvious. Humans had not forgotten the galaxy. The galaxy had forgotten them. But now they were back. A decision had to be made. Some leaders wanted peace talks. Others wanted to send even larger fleets. But fear divided them. One desperate senator shouted, we must unite. If more human ships appear, none of us are safe. Another replied, no. We must appease them. If they only want revenge, let them take it. Better them than all of us. The chamber turned into chaos once again. Far away, in the void, the black ship continued its silent path. Inside, the lone human studied the galaxy maps. His eyes were cold, but his purpose was clear. The ship's AI spoke. Council activity has increased. They prepare more fleets. The human nodded. Good. They should be afraid. He placed his hand on the console. His voice was low, but full of steel. They erased us from history. They buried our name. But we will remind them. They will remember humans. The council called for one last secret meeting. Only the highest leaders attended. In the center of the chamber, a hologram of the black ship floated, glowing like a nightmare. We face something greater than war, the speaker admitted. We face the return of a species we chose to forget. And now, they have returned stronger than we imagined. The silence grew heavy. The leaders knew the truth. Their fleets were not enough. Their weapons were not enough. And if humanity had more than one ship, the galaxy was doomed. That night, across the stars, the message appeared again. On trade stations, on military channels, on civilian comms. The same human voice, cold and powerful. We remember. Do you? The council's fear turned into terror. For the first time in centuries, the rulers of the galaxy felt powerless. And deep in the dark, the human ship prepared for its next strike. The council could no longer hide the truth. The black human ship had destroyed fleets, crippled stations, and humiliated admirals. The galaxy was whispering, and whispers were turning into fear. If the council did not act, entire empires might break away in panic. So, they made a decision. The hunt would begin. Every empire was ordered to contribute ships. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and fighters, thousands of them. Never before had such a force been gathered for a single enemy. The fleet stretched across the stars like a wall of fire. This time, General Kor growled, the human ship will not escape. It will be hunted. It will be destroyed. But not everyone agreed. Some leaders worried. If this human ship destroyed so many fleets before, why would this be different? Others warned, it is not fighting civilians. It chooses only military targets. What if it has a purpose? What if it wants us to understand something? Their words were ignored. Fear had already drowned reason. The hunt began in the eastern sectors. Scouts spread out, their sensors tuned to the strange signals the ship emitted. Convoys moved as bait, hoping to lure it into a trap. Entire systems were placed under heavy surveillance. And at last, the ship appeared. Silent. Black. Alone. It emerged near a refueling station used by the Council Navy. The fleets rushed to surround it, thousands of ships locking weapons on the target. The admirals cheered. They had it now. Fire everything! The stars burned as missiles, beams, and plasma waves rained down on the human ship. Explosions filled the void. The station itself shook under the storm of weapons. When the smoke cleared, the admirals smiled. Until they saw the truth. The black ship was still there. Untouched. Then it moved. Its weapons tore through the fleets like a storm. Capital ships exploded one after another. Fighters swarmed, but the ship's strange pulses disabled them in seconds. The council fleets fought bravely, but it was useless. The admirals screamed orders. Fall back! Fall back! But there was nowhere to run. The black ship moved too fast, striking and vanishing, appearing behind them, cutting through their defenses. In less than an hour, the greatest fleet the council had ever assembled was gone. Yet once again, civilians were spared. The refueling station was left untouched. Transports carrying food and medicine were ignored. Only warships burned. The survivors asked the same question, why? Why did the human ship destroy only soldiers, never innocents? Back in the council chamber, panic spread like wildfire. Some argued the ship was a machine, an old AI designed to punish the galaxy. Others swore a human was alive inside. But then came new evidence. From the wreckage of one destroyed cruiser, the black box was recovered. Inside was a short recording from the moment before the ship's destruction. It showed sensors detecting a heartbeat. One single, steady human heartbeat inside the black ship. The chamber fell silent. It is not a machine, the silver-skinned speaker whispered. It is alive. Now fear turned to dread. If one human could control such power, what would happen if more appeared? If Earth itself were still alive, if there were more ships like this one, then no empire could stand against them. Meanwhile, the human ship drifted through the void, hidden in the shadows of dying stars. Inside, the lone survivor studied maps glowing across his command deck. His eyes were tired, but sharp. The AI spoke. "Another fleet destroyed. They will send more." The human gave a cold smile. "Good. They are learning." He walked slowly to the front of the ship, staring out into the endless dark. His voice was quiet, but his words were filled with iron. "They erased us. They wrote us out of history. But every battle, every fleet I destroy, forces them to remember. They cannot hide the truth forever." The hunt did not stop. More fleets were sent. More traps were laid. But each time, the story was the same. Fleets burned. Warships vanished. Only civilians survived. Some aliens began to whisper new words. Not fear. Not terror. But respect. "He spares the innocent," they said. "He strikes only at armies. Maybe he is not a monster. Maybe he is justice." The council grew desperate. They sent spies to old archives, searching for any hidden history of humans. They found fragments of songs, old battle records, and warnings written by forgotten empires. The warnings were always the same. Do not anger them. Do not underestimate them. Humans fight until the end. On one small colony, an alien teacher told his students the truth. Once, long ago, humans lived among the stars. They were strong. They were dangerous. But they were also protectors. Perhaps this one is the last of them. The children asked, "Will he come here?" The teacher looked up at the stars and whispered, "He already has." The galaxy had hunted the black ship for months. Fleets had burned. Armies had failed. And still, no one knew the truth. Was it a machine? Was it a ghost? Or was it really a human? The council demanded answers. Citizens demanded the truth. Fear alone could no longer control the galaxy. And at last, the truth began to surface. In a hidden research base, scientists studied fragments taken from destroyed council ships. Their scans revealed strange energy signatures. The technology was old, far older than any current empire. Yet it was also powerful, beyond their understanding. "It is not alien," one scientist whispered. "It is human." The council was furious. "That is impossible. Humans were never advanced. They never built ships like this." But the evidence was clear. Meanwhile, the black ship struck again, this time at a major military shipyard. Thousands of alien workers screamed as alarms echoed. Warships, still half-built, floated helplessly in dry dock. But the human ship did not fire on civilians. Instead, it destroyed only the weapons, the battleships, the fuel depots. And when it was done, it broadcast a message across every system. The voice was deep, cold, and undeniably human. "This is not war. This is warning." The galaxy froze. For the first time, billions heard the voice. The fear grew, but so did curiosity. Who was this human? Why had he returned now? The council called an emergency meeting. The silver-skinned speaker raised his voice. "This is no longer a ghost story. A human is alive, and he commands a ship that we cannot defeat. We must know why. We must know how." At last, a decision was made. They would dig deeper into the past. From forgotten libraries and buried archives, fragments of history returned. They learned of Earth, the blue world on the edge of the galaxy. They learned of a people who had once fought fiercely against impossible odds. And they learned of a project. A secret experiment. Centuries ago, before humanity vanished, Earth's leaders had built a ship. Not just a warship, but a dreadnought, fused with living AI, stronger than any fleet. They called it Project Eternity. It was said to carry cryopods for the best human warriors. A ship designed not only to fight, but to survive. A weapon meant to awaken if humanity was ever in danger again. But the project had been lost. The galaxy never found it. And in time, humans disappeared from history. Until now. The black ship was Project Eternity. And someone had awakened. Inside the ship, the lone human walked through silent corridors. His name was forgotten by the galaxy, but not by the ship. The AI greeted him. Status: stable. Enemy fleets neutralized. Mission continues. He stood before the command deck, staring at the stars. His face was scarred, his eyes sharp, his body aged but strong. He was not just a survivor, He was the last soldier of Earth. He remembered the past. The wars. The betrayals. How the galaxy had ignored humanity, abandoned them, erased them. And now, he had awakened to find the galaxy unchanged, still ruled by arrogant empires, still blind to justice. He clenched his fist. They erased us from records. But we are not gone. Not yet. The Council spies finally intercepted a transmission from the ship. For a moment, they saw him, the human, standing tall in his dark command deck. He looked into the camera, and his words chilled every empire. I am the last of my kind. I am the warning you chose to forget. This ship is not vengeance. It is memory. And I will make you remember. The broadcast ended. The council chamber was silent. Some leaders trembled. Others felt shame. A few whispered admiration. But one thing was clear, the truth was revealed. The black ship was not a ghost. Not an AI. Not a myth. It was human. A living human, carrying the weight of a forgotten Earth. In the streets of alien worlds, reactions exploded. Some cursed the human as a demon. Others cheered him as a hero. Weak colonies under council rule began to dream of rebellion. If one human can do this, they whispered, what if Earth returns? The galaxy was changing. Meanwhile, the lone human prepared for the next step. His AI projected new star maps, highlighting council strongholds. The ship hummed with ancient power, waiting for his command. He placed his hand on the console and whispered to himself. They thought we were extinct. They thought they could erase us. But I am here. And I will remind them what it means to face humanity. The ship's engines roared to life. Stars blurred as it jumped into hyperspace. The hunt was over. The truth was revealed. But the real war was about to begin. The galaxy was no longer the same. The truth had been revealed. The black ship was real. The human inside was real. And the story that had been erased from the records had now returned like fire in the dark. Every empire felt the weight of that truth. One human, with one ship, had defeated fleets greater than any in history. The council chambers were filled with fear. Leaders argued day and night. He is a monster. He must be destroyed, one shouted. No, another whispered, trembling. He spares civilians. He chooses only military targets. He is not a monster. He is sending a message. But no one could agree on what the message truly was. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, common people spoke in whispers. Farmers in the outer colonies. Traders on forgotten stations. Workers in the mines. They all repeated the same words. If one human can do this, what if Earth returns? Hope began to spread. Hope for the weak. Fear for the powerful. The council grew desperate. They sent their best fleets again and again, but none returned. They tried traps, ambushes, even forbidden weapons. Nothing worked. Each time, the black ship emerged stronger. Each time, the lone human voice echoed through the stars. This is not war. This is warning. But the galaxy understood now. If this was only a warning, then war would be far worse. Inside the black ship, the lone human stood before the AI core. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with fire. Status, he said. The AI responded in its cold, steady voice. All council fleets neutralized in Sector 9. Civilian casualties, none. Resistance continues to gather in other sectors. The human nodded. They are learning. Slowly. But they will learn. He touched the hull of the ship, his hand pressing against the ancient metal. His voice softened. I am the last. But I am not the end. Humanity was never about one man, one ship. Humanity was about legacy. About never giving up. The eye's lights glowed. Mission will continue. The human closed his eyes for a moment. He saw Earth in his memory. The oceans, the skies, the laughter of people long gone. Then he opened his eyes again, sharp and determined. Yes. Until the galaxy remembers us fully. Rumors began to spread faster than any fleet could fly. Some claimed the black ship was only the first, that more human ships were hidden, waiting to awaken. Others swore that Earth itself had survived in secret, building a fleet beyond imagination. Fear turned into legend. And legends turned into power. In the council, chaos ruled. Armies were breaking away. Colonies refused orders. Old empires began to crumble under the weight of doubt. One senator shouted in despair. Humans do not need a fleet. One of them is enough to destroy us all. Another whispered, if one is enough, then what happens when more return? Silence followed. No one dared to answer. On the far edge of the galaxy, the black ship made its final broadcast. Every channel, every system, every world received it at once. The human stood tall on the screen, his scarred face lit by the glow of his ship. His voice was steady, unbroken, carrying across the stars. I am not your enemy. I am your reminder. You erased us from your records. You buried our name. But humanity cannot be erased. Humanity cannot be buried. One ship has shown you this truth. Imagine what a fleet could do. He paused. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. This was not war. This was warning. The legacy of Earth lives. And this is only the beginning. The broadcast ended. The black ship jumped into hyperspace, disappearing into the endless dark. No one knew where it went. Some believed it was gone forever. Others believed it was waiting for the right moment to return. But the message remained. In the centuries that followed, the story of the human spread across every world. Children learned it as legend. Soldiers studied it as warning. Leaders remembered it as fear. And always, the same question echoed in the hearts of billions. If one human ship could do this, what will happen when Earth returns with a fleet? The galaxy had no answer. But the stars remembered. And so did humanity.